So today I'm going to show you how you can get the Wishmaker Jirachi on Pokemon Emerald using ACE codes. So in other words, this is without using any external devices. You can do this on your physical copy of Pokemon Emerald on your DS or GBA or whatever you're using to play Pokemon Emerald. Now there are some requirements to doing this, and I'm going to list them right now so you don't get disappointed later. So the first thing you're going to need is to set up ACE in Pokemon Emerald, right? And I've made a very detailed, or as detailed as I could, guide on how to get that. So if you haven't set up ACE, watch that video now before you come over here. And after you've done that and set up the ACE will look like the dots egg. I'm going to put that on screen right now. It's a dots egg that you make through that glitch, and with that dots egg, you're then going to make a stable ACE. Now a stable ACE is something that looks like this. It has a decamark. They come in different forms or different versions, but I would recommend getting the 0x410E stable ACE. It's the stable ARM species. You will also need accurate BIOS emulation if you're playing on an emulator. But if you're playing on console, you already have that on your in your game. So the way you know if you have this is that if you reset the game like this, you should see this Game Boy Nintendo animation before the game loads. Now what's worth mentioning is that not only are we going to make this Jirachi into the game, but it's also going to be legal, and you can transfer this all the way up to Pokemon Home and use it on your new Pokemon games, essentially. So over on Reddit, there's a user called Seabiscuit19, and they have made a great tutorial on how you can get your legal shiny Wishmaker Jirachi only using ACE. But for today, I'm going to show you how you can do it a lot faster, because this requires you to do 11 codes, and some of these requires you to change things like your trainer name, your trainer ID and secret ID, things that you normally would want to change back again after you've done the whole process. We're going to craft something called a crafting table, which is really cool because you can just craft any Pokemon with any data that you want into the game. It's really stupid. So I'm going to show you how this works, and it's not going to take as long as you may think. So the main thing making it legal is that the Jirachi has to be named Wishmaker. It has to be from a male trainer. The trainer ID and secret ID has to be 20043 and a secret ID of 0. It also needs one of the 9 PIDs that are found here, and you can see here. The one I'm going to create today is going to be the Jolly one. So if you want to follow along and do exactly what I do, you can do that. But if you want to make your own with another nature, you need to use one of the other PIDs from this list. So how do we get this crafting table in order to craft this Jirachi? Well, we're going to go over to the gist of Mettrich, or Claydol with Explosion, as its username over here. And we're going to go down to advanced codes. Now the first thing we're going to do is, because it's going to require a little bit of setup before we can get to the crafting table. But yeah, as long as you now have your dots, you've done the whole getting a dots egg into the game and then getting a stable ACE species, you're good to go. If you have your stable ACE species, you can follow this video right now. And if you have the BIOS in your emulator. But again, on console, don't worry about the BIOS, you already have it. So the first thing we're going to need to set up is this exit code that Mettrich has developed, and you will also again need BIOS emulation to do this. But it's very simple. All you do is you change box 14 to this code right here, and then you change box 1 wallpaper to machine and box 2 wallpaper to desert. So this is box 14. I have just typed in the code, and as you can see, this is my box 1. It's if we take a look at the wallpaper here, you can see if you go down to etc, yeah. Then you go to the third option, which is machine, and to get the desert on box 2, you go to this, the first one, and the third option is desert. Okay, Remember that. Okay. Thumbwriter. Now, this is only 2 codes, essentially. But before we can do this, we're going to need something called a Metastable Thumb species, as you can see here. And if you go to this one right here, it's gonna take you to where you can find this. You can also just click it, but if you right click it and open it in a new tab, you will see it right here. So for this Metastable Thumb species, you can actually do this in all languages, and you will not see the Japanese on here because the Japanese games already run thumb codes. So for you, if you're watching and playing on the Japanese version, you can already skip all the way down to, where is it? Yes, you can skip the Thumbwriter completely and skip the Metastable Ace and go straight to base 64 writer. Now, the Metastable Thumb species will spawn in box 10 slot 19. So this was my box 1. You go backwards, it's 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10, right? So this spot right here is slot 19. If you wanted to count, you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be 12. This would be 18. And then if you go 1 down from the other side, it's 19 right here. This is where this metastable species will spawn, and so you have to keep this slot empty, right? Now for box 2, make sure that if you're on emulator, you're going to replace the last P with a Q, okay? A uppercase Q. This is box 4, and as you can see, there's only these letters. Just hit start and OK. You don't have to type all the spaces at the end. Okay, so I'm now done with the 7 boxes. And what you do with the rest of the boxes is you don't touch them. It doesn't matter what's already in there. If you've done another code before this, you don't have to reset it to the original box name, like box 8, box 9, and so on. You can just leave whatever is already in there. But keep in mind the box 14 that we named earlier but it's actually not relevant for this code, but for the next code that we're going to do. Now, with any ace code, you want to make sure that boxes 11 to 14 are empty. So this is 14, 13, 12, and 11. Okay, because there's also going to be, the Bootsrap will spawn in box 12, which is, I believe here, let's see, 14, 13, yes, 12, slot 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where the Bootsrap will spawn. And you'll also get your Metastable Thumb species inside box 10, slot 19, like I talked about earlier, so right here. Now I'm going to execute this with my stable ace that is called the 410 or 0x410E. And I have this is what I've this is the recommended version that doesn't require a bootstrap, so it's essentially a stable arm species. Now I'm going to open the summary of this, and once the animation clears, you can go back. By the way, save before doing this. I didn't do that right now, but I was lucky enough that the code worked, I think. Let's see. Okay, so here we have this with the /BM. That is, if you see that, you can be pretty sure it's correct. There might be a different nickname. You see I have this sign with the E as the nickname, but I think it is the correct one, and we'll see very soon. But there is my stable metastable ace. You can take that and put it maybe in your party for now. So in box 12, you can see in slot 4 we now have a bad egg, and this is the bootstrapped bad egg that we needed. Now this thumb to arm bootstrap is very fragile. It can corrupt or disappear if I hover over it with the multi-select option. So we're gonna do one simple change in the code in order to fortify it. Yes, so if we see on the getting the Metastable Thumb species, it says down here that on box 6, for fortifying the bootstrap, replace T with U. Now, there's 2 T's in here. This may get updated when you see this and when you are viewing the code yourself, but if not, this is the T that you need to replace. And there might be new instructions here based on if Mettrich has updated this to make it easier to read. But in that case, you could follow that, or you can just follow what I'm saying right here. So So this is the T that needs to be changed into a U in box 6. So we're gonna do that right now. And a 2. Like that. Now before you execute this, we're gonna take this bad egg and we're going to place it from box 12 slot 4 to box 12 slot 7. Okay, so this is 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So put it right there. Now before you do it again, save the game. Oops. Save the game so that you don't have to write the codes again in case it doesn't work or in case you crash. Because if you crash, it's most likely wrong code. So before we execute this code, make sure that your new stable metastable thumb species isn't next to your other stable species, because we need to be scrolling into it in order to make this work. You view the summary of the Pokemon right above it, and then you go to your stats page or any of the other pages, but not the first one. And then you just hit down, right, to scroll into it. And if it works, the animation should go away. And you should not crash. Now what happened is this egg should be fortified. And in order to check it, click select to enter the multi-select thing. And then you can press A on it and let it down. If nothing happens, it worked. It should be fortified now. Okay, so once you have fortified the thumb to arm bootstrap, you can put this in anywhere in here, but I recommend slot 4. Where's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the same place that we spawned it. So we're just gonna leave it there for now. And now we are done with this step. So we're now going to start creating the Thumbwriter now that we have our metastable thumb species. Now we're gonna start by doing this code, and make sure that you have your box 10 slot 19 empty, because that's where we're going to generate a bad egg right now, which is going to be called the intermediate writer. It's temporary. Okay, so watch out for some of these letters, right? This is a 0 and this is a lowercase o, right? And for emulators, replace this M with a O, a big O, uppercase. And then this is, again, lowercase o. You've got, yeah, these are fine, but this is a big O, not a 0. Lowercase o. Yes, and this is a space. Right, so let's do that now. So I've just finished typing my codes, and in order to check if it worked, there should be a bad egg in slot 19 of box 10. Now this is only after doing the first code, so I'm not going to touch it yet because we have to do the second code as well. So I'm just going to show you this. I've made a small mistake in this box here, box 3, with the L not being an uppercase L. Just want to show you what happens if, in this case, what happened is the animation here didn't disappear. So if that happens to you, you probably made a small error somewhere. But yeah, if that happens, you just reset the game and yeah, fix that error. So I fixed my mistakes, and we're now going to, and I saved the game, and then again go into the stats and scroll down. You see it disappeared now. It means it's working. Okay, so let's go back to box 10 and get that egg. This is now going to be the intermediate writer, essentially. So we're going to put that into the last box of and slot 29. So just one off of the last slot. Okay? Nice. We're almost there. Now, since this intermediate writer is written in thumb, we actually need to remove this thumb to arm bootstrap that we have in box 12. So you take it and you put it anywhere between box 1 and 10, but I would recommend putting it maybe, yeah, at least don't put it in box 10, because, you know, at least not this spot right here, right? Because we use that for a lot of codes. So I'd recommend putting it somewhere you remember, between box 1 and 9 maybe. Now the next step will be to create the thumb base 64 writer. And this requires one code. And as you can see, it's pretty much all uppercase letters. So no numbers or any weird signs. So it should go a little bit faster to write this code. Alright, so I'm now typed in this code, and we are now going to execute this code again with the metastable thumb species. So we save the game before doing this, then you go into the stats page of the Pokemon before and scroll down into your Metastable Ace, right? And as you can see, now there's suddenly another egg in slot 30, and this is your base 64 Thumbwriter. What you can do now is delete this intermediate writer or put it in somewhere, but you're not going to use it anymore. So I'm going to show you how to delete this, and normally if you see release doesn't work on a egg, so I'm going to show you quickly how to get rid of it. Put it in your party, go to the Battle Frontier. So just to show you where this is, you fly to Battle Frontier like this. Then I'm gonna use some speed up stuff here to get over here, which is the Battle Tower. Now you need to keep this in your party, and you save the game while it's in your party, okay? Then you're gonna put this egg back into the PC, okay? Then make sure you have at least 2 Pokemon that can enter the Battle Tower. So I'm just going to take open level, you can choose any option. And then you hit yes on this option, and when she asks you to save the second time with this saving box, you just, I'm going to hit Control R on the emulator to reset, but on the DS or GBA you reset, soft reset the game with Control Start A and B at the same time. And now, if you did that correctly, you should no longer have this egg. So you can see there's none in the box and there's none in the party. So it's gone. Now you're going to keep this base 64 writer in the previous spot, right? In slots 29 of box 14. So now that we've crafted the Thumb base 64 writer, we are ready to craft the crafty simple crafting table. It's going to be a Beldum level 100 called Crafty. And this is one code again, but with a few more symbols in it. So let's do that now. But yeah, if you mess up, make sure to reset to the save point and do it again, because you never know what the wrong code can do, right? Like if you execute a wrong code but it doesn't crash your game, you don't really know what happened, so it's best to reset and do it again until it's correct. Alright, now let's see if the code works. So we go into the stats, scroll into it, and the animation disappears, and look! At box 14, slot 30, we now have this Beldum called Crafty, and this is the crafting table that you will use to craft any Pokemon with any data that you want within just one code. I recommend putting this into box 13, slot 1. You have to put it somewhere in box 13 or 14, but the reason I recommend box 13 is and slot 1 is just that whatever Pokemon you're going to craft with this is going to spawn to the right of this Beldum. So our Jirachi will spawn right here. And therefore it's kind of nice that there is some space next to it. You need to make sure there is empty space next to Beldum. In order to create any Pokemon inside of the game, we need to know the hex values or the hex code of this Pokemon, and one easy way to know that is to use a program called PKHex. Now this is only for PC, and you don't need it. You can just follow and do the same codes that I do if you want to copy my Jirachi, but if you wanted to make any other Pokemon, then you have to download this program and follow the steps I'm going to show you right now. If not, you can skip ahead to the box codes of Jirachi that I will show later. So the first thing we need to do is to open your save file. So we're going to go over here to my, this is for me, but you can probably follow some of the same steps on your, if you are on emulator on the PC. So you go to your Emerald folder wherever you have your SAV files, right? This is what you need. Yeah, so basically I can't play the game and open the save file at the same time. But now that I've closed it, we can open up this save file right here. So what you do is you come back to this page on Reddit. You can click open the link in your new tab to get those PIDs. And we're going to copy this PID right here. You come back in here and you just type in the PID here or paste it. We're going to select Jirachi as the species. Okay, yep, that's good. Now we change. Okay, yeah, it's already jolly, as you can see, because the PID has to be jolly, or the nature has to be jolly for this PID to be that PID. And we're gonna set it to level 5. We're then gonna go down to Met, and it has to be in Ruby or Sapphire. So I'm gonna set it to Ruby, and it has to be on a Pokeball. And it also has to be not Little Root Town, but you can go all the way down to Fateful Encounter. And Met at level 0. That's going to make it seem like it's in an egg, but it's been transferred. This should work. Okay, for the stats, you can see up here, it says HP 11, so we do that, 11. The attack is 8, so we put that in right there. And then we have 6 for the defense, and we have 14 special attack, 5 special defense, and finally 20 speed. Okay, so this, those are the IVs. Now for the moves, we have to have some moves. You can put in Confusion as the first move, because that's what it's going to learn at level 1. At the same time, we're going to use Wish. So those are the 2 moves that it has to learn, that it will learn, but you don't have to, but just do this to make sure that it works. Although you might change this, I believe. And then finally for the OT, this is probably the most important part. We're gonna make sure that the OT is, or the TID, or the OT is Wishmaker, right? And you have to do this, make sure that it's a male trainer. Okay, here you see the male sign. So, whoops, that was the OT, Wishmaker. For the TID, you need to have 20,043. So we put that in. And for the SID, which is the secret ID, we put 0. Then you saw that it suddenly became shiny. Because the SID and the TID matched the PID, and then it became shiny. Oh yeah, you have to set this to level 5. And that, yeah, there you see. And what you can do then is right click on a tile in your PC and click set. Now this Jirachi will be here, and we can now view it and view the hex data of this Pokemon. But in order to do that, you're also going to need the Pokeglitzer app. Oh, and before you open that, what you need to do is to export this SAV file so that you can open it in Pokeglitzer. Let's take a look at that. We're gonna open and go into the one I just created, which is right here. We can open it, and now we just gotta find it. It should be next to the Beldum. And here it is. So what we do now is we can just right click on it and click on Open Hex Data Editor. And here are this is the hex data of this Pokemon that we are now going to convert into base 64 code, which is gonna make it shorter and fit within all the 14 boxes. So in order to convert this hex data into base 64, you can type hex to base 64 converter into Google, and or in whatever your search engine is, and go to this link, for instance. I'll have it in the description. Okay, so what you do is you go into your Pokemon data editor and you copy the hex code or hex data of your Jirachi and paste it in here. And even though there is space in between here, it's able to read this and convert it into base 64. And this is going to be the code that you need to put into your boxes. Now, something that's really important to remember if you're going to make other Pokemon with this code is that whenever you are typing in these base 64 codes that you converted from hex data, you need to replace all the pluses with exclamation marks and all the slashes with question marks. And then at the end you remove the equal sign and fill it up with A's. Okay? Just A. If we go back into the code that was, where was it? Yes, the converted code, you can see that there is a slash right here, and we need to replace this with a question mark, and we need to remove the equal sign at the end here. So basically you take this code into somewhere, a document or whatever, and you just split it up into 8 characters per line. Luckily, I've already done that for you, so you can use this right here that I'm going to show on screen to create your Jirachi. And I've already converted the slash to this question mark in box 3, and as you can see in box 14, it's filled with A's at the end. So if you use this code right now, it should generate your Shiny Wishmaker Jirachi. So let's go ahead and do it and see what we get. Okay, so now I've gone through all the boxes and written them, and I had a small error, so I had to redo it. But again, in box 1, remember that the last letter is an O, not a 0, and that the previous one is a 0. They look the same in here, but yeah, there's a difference. So I'm just going to show you all the boxes real quick if you're having issues. And also remember, in this one, it's a 1, not an L at the end. So I have already done multiple mistakes just making this video, so if you are having trouble and your game is freezing or you're getting stuff you're not supposed to get, then it's probably just something in your code, okay? So try to look through your code 2, 3, 4 times even. And I've gone through my boxes multiple times without actually finding the issue before I eventually found it just by looking very carefully. So let's see what happens. So the Jirachi should spawn right here next to our Crafty. So again, we're using the same stable metastable species. So to execute it, we go into the stats and then we scroll down. Okay, it disappears. That's a good sign. And look at that. We have a Jirachi. Shiny Jirachi. It's a Wishmaker Jirachi with ID 20043 with Jolly Natured, obtained in a fateful encounter, and it has the confusion and wish that we wanted it to have. So it worked. Lastly, I want to say that if you have set up all of this, you are not going to be able to do normal codes again until you move the crafting table and this base 64 writer out of the boxes 12 to 14, right? So you have to then take this, you could put it into box 1 for instance, just so that it's quick to move it back whenever you want to execute or create more Pokemon, right? And then you put your crafty away as well. So I'm just gonna put these two here so that it's easy for me to put them back whenever I want to make more Pokemon from scratch, like we did with Jirachi. So then you can just also retire your metastable as a species here, and use your old, or not old, but your previous stable ace that you used to use codes before this. And if you made it this far, please consider subscribing, okay? I used so much of my time trying to make these guides, so as a little bonus clip, let's bring him out in battle to see how it looks. So we're gonna take Jirachi here, and let's give him a spin. Oh, that's beautiful. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what else you want to see for the next video. And I'll see you later.